Thanks, Rita. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight. Fundraising for a little girl with such a severe disease, she's thought to be the only person in the world with it.
One wrong move, she's in the brain. So to constantly have that in your brain, worrying about her maybe breaking herself and her being a danger to herself is a lot.
The Sussex Chief Constable backs calls for tighter rules for new drivers to improve road safety. The path is paved for thousands of new homes as councillors find a way to get around environmental concerns. And standing tall, the breast cancer survivors seeing how their amazing fundraising efforts are helping others. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. First tonight, thousands of pounds are being raised for a little girl from East Sussex who's believed to be the only person in the world with the severest form of brittle bone disease. Natalia, who lives in Polegate, is in danger of breaking a bone if she so much as sneezes. Only last month she broke her thigh bone and she's awaiting more surgery. Anissa Kadri has been to visit her and her family, who are now raising money for a padded playroom.
Say biggie boo. Can I have a kiss? Kiss? Bye then. Bye.
2-year-old Natalia has an infectious smile and loves playing peekaboo. But her parents say just putting on her socks could break her bone if her toe got caught because of the rare genetic condition she was born with.
It's mentally done us.
It is. It's
100%. It's mentally taken a part of our lives away and our brain has totally gone with it. But we do get stronger and stronger every single day, don't we, from it? And we've got each other.
When I say, like, well, you can't take your eyes off children anyway, but with Natalia, you
really can't
take an eye off her because one wrong move, she's in break.
Her poor leg, bro.
She fractured her thigh bone 3 weeks ago throwing herself forward. Her parents say activities like going to the park are more risky for Natalia and they're fundraising for a sensory soft play area at home. They're hoping to raise £10,000.
It's going to be a self-contained room, which is padded, where she can play freely without any risk. She's a risk to herself anyway, but we can't take her to a public place and keep everybody away from her.
There she is.
From their home in Polegate, the family uses TikTok to raise awareness.
They've got children with disabilities and they just love it when we come on. We all talk about our problems. We all help each other just by talking.
So there's the milder kind where people don't make enough collagen, and that's a milder kind of brittle bone disease. And at the more severe end is where Natalia is, where almost all the collagen that she makes is not very good. And that means that her joints are very bendy normally. She might have blue instead of white in the whites of the eyes and various sort of deformities of the skeleton.
Natalia is Nicole and Peter's 5th child, but they say they've had to relearn child rearing with her, with support from Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital.
We've had to change our whole life.
It is humbling because although she has a severe condition, which is scary and it's terrifying, the way she overcomes everything and just takes it on her stride is something special.
Although medication helps Natalia, there are a lot of unknowns with her condition. Her mum and dad say she makes their day as they try to give her as normal a childhood as possible.
What an incredible family, and Anissa joins me now. Anissa, Natalia's form of brittle bone disease is really, really rare, isn't it?
Yes, she has the condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, as you say, known as brittle bone disease, and it's caused by mutations in the genes that control the production of collagen, and that is the main protein found in bone, and it is vital for strength. So there are around 5,000 people with OI here in the UK, which is usually diagnosed during childhood, and there are many variations of it. In the most severe cases, including Natalia, babies can have fractures before or during birth. Around 25% of children with OI are born into a family where there is no known family history of the condition. So to put this into perspective, Natalia's mother says she's been told that she's the only one in the world to have the most severe type, that's type 10. And with the risk of just a hiccup or a sneeze breaking a rib, that's why her family is anxious to do all they can to protect her from the constant dangers around her, Ellie.
Such a worry. Thank you very much, Anissa. 4 people are still in custody as part of a murder investigation after a man died in the centre of Canterbury. The man in his 20s was found with stab wounds in the city's high street at around 11:30 last night. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A motorcyclist has died following a crash on the A21 near Robertsbridge. It happened at around 8 o'clock last night at John's Cross. The driver of a Ford Transit was arrested on suspicion of causing death by careless driving and driving while unfit through drink or drugs. He remains in custody. There have been 2 other serious crashes at that location, one fatal in recent years.
They need to do something about it because, you know, you don't expect to ever see a dead person in your lifetime on a road, and to see 2 within, less than 2 years is horrific.
Now, staying with road safety, because the Chief Constable of Sussex Police, who's also the UK's most senior roads policing officer, is backing a campaign for tighter restrictions on newly qualified drivers. Jo Shiner, whose own father died in a road accident when she was a child, is supporting calls to bring in graduated driving licences. They would see young and new drivers face stricter rules, like not being able to have younger passengers in the car with them. Our reporter Tim Muffet has the details.
My precious child, Caitlin, who loved music, films, reading, her cat Molly and her family.
Sharon Huddleston paying tribute to her daughter Caitlin at the National Police Chiefs Council conference. Caitlin was killed in a car accident in 2017.
Caitlin was the passenger in the car, and her friend who was driving her had just recently passed her driving test. The driver lost control on a wet bend on a rural road in Cumbria. Caitlin was killed on impact. The driver was killed too.
Sharon and other bereaved families have been campaigning for the introduction of graduated driving licences, which would place restrictions on who newly qualified young drivers could carry as passengers.
Caitlin and her friend would be alive today if that law had been in place. Caitlin wouldn't have been a passenger in the car, and that journey wouldn't have taken place then.
At the police chiefs conference, there was renewed support for graduated licences from a key figure.
It's really important that we take any measures and support any measures that will reduce the number of people who are killed and seriously injured on our roads, because that number is currently unacceptable. I support graduated driving licences, but what's really important is that we actually do that work to understand what the most effective elements of that looks like.
Last month, the RAC Foundation set out proposals for a graduated driving licence. Its idea is that teenage drivers would be banned from carrying passengers aged 25 or under for 6 months after their test, unless there was an adult in the car aged 35 or above. And teenagers would also have to learn to drive for at least 6 months.
This particular proposal that we've put forward, we've estimated that it would save up to 44 lives a year, and it would save 537 casualties. Young drivers are 7% of all licence holders, but they're involved in 1/5 of all killed and seriously injured collisions. So this is a real problem.
It needs to be evidence-based, and I think we need to work through that evidence to make sure that whatever graduated driving licences do look like in the future, those proposals are based on evidence, which means that we will save the lives of young drivers and other drivers in the future.
The USA, Australia and Canada are amongst the countries that already have graduated driving licences. For campaigners in the UK, they are long overdue. Tim Muffet, BBC South East Today.
Now, to build or not to build, the debate rages on, and now thousands of new homes could be constructed in East Kent because planners have found a way of overcoming long-standing environmental concerns. Fears of pollution at Stobmarsh Nature Reserve near Canterbury have seen a number of significant schemes stall. The regulations initially came into force in Europe and were adopted by the UK government after Brexit. Dubbed nutrient neutrality, they stop developments that might add pollution into waterways. That's mainly held up small and medium-sized projects, but now councillors believe the creation of a joint company could pave the way for new builds to go ahead. Our environment correspondent Yvette Austin explains.
Stodmarsh Nature Reserve, a square mile of open water, channels and reed beds, internationally protected for its breeding birds, invertebrates and rare plants. But all is not well. The water is polluted with bad nutrients like nitrates and phosphates that have been carried there by the River Stour that runs through Canterbury and Ashford. As a result, there's effectively been a ban on much new house building in the area for more than 4 years. But the councils think they've finally found a joint solution to preventing the condition of Stodmarsh getting any worse.
For a long time there's been a number of ways of mitigating against the nutrient pollution of Stodmarsh. What we've been lacking up until this point is a central solution by which we can bring all of those methods of mitigation and deliver them to small and medium enterprises, developers of all sorts of shapes and sizes, so that they can get building again.
It's sites like these that are impacted. Debenhams here in Canterbury closed back in January 2020, and despite there being planning permission for new shops and flats, no work has been able to start, and all the while the site becomes increasingly derelict. So the councils have set up a company that trades in nutrient mitigation credits. Developers pay for the credits and mitigation work is performed by others. The councils hope it'll unlock the building of thousands of new homes that have been held up.
It's really important. People are looking for homes, they want new homes. We want to generate building back in the city centre, doing things like the Debenhams and Nations work in city centre, building on brownfield sites. All of the things people want to see, that's what this would start up again.
The mitigation can be building a wetland, or there are other schemes to reduce nutrients entering the river.
There's many people out there who don't have access to mains drainage, and they all have either a septic tank or a cesspit, and quite often that has a soak away, and those nutrients leach into the soil and ultimately find their way into the river. If you exchange that septic tank and that soak away for a modern wastewater treatment package plant, that will create a large amount of credits. In fact, probably 10 credits out of 1. So we can probably build around 10 houses for 1 package treatment plant.
Natural England, which manages Stodmarsh, supports the plan.
We need to sort of see the higher water quality coming into the site so that the measures we do on site will have the benefit. So over time, we won't see those massive algal blooms that will cover the whole lake. It will go back to that more natural cycle. And that's what we're working towards on site, but most importantly in the catchment as a whole.
The councils say they hope building can get underway next year. Yvette Austin, BBC South East Today, Canterbury.
Now, it takes a special mindset to compete at the highest level, with sports stars having to cope with both the joys of victory and the agony of defeat. Now, Olympic and Paralympic athletes have been sharing their advice on maintaining good mental health with the next generation of hopefuls. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic has been to Ashford to find out more.
Hand the baton over, let's go, 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 go.
Passing the baton and mental health advice to a younger generation. Olympic bronze 4x400 metre relay athlete Victoria Ahorogu has faced her own internal issues. But sport and a support network can help in times of need.
Good job. Some people, their family and friends might not be that network, but I think just finding a network can be super beneficial, whether that's, you know, training partners, people that might run with, I don't know, people you might go to the gym with, people you go to college with.
Just like long distance running, the pursuit of good mental health is a marathon, not a sprint, which Sir Mo Farah is an expert on.
Even myself, for many, many years, I struggled. And I had, lucky enough, had my family who supported me, who stood by and heard my story.
The charity Mid Kent Mind says 1 in 6 young people in the local area are believed to experience mental health concerns, a number that is rising. So the students were given coping mechanisms and tips for how to look out for each other.
I've learned about who to speak to and how to speak about it.
I learned about how to deal with stress and how that can really affect you.
People could be struggling mentally but look fine on the outside.
Volleyball played sitting down is undoubtedly harder than when standing up, but despite the difficulties can still be just as rewarding. A lesson that you can still reach your dreams when times are tough and obstacles are in your way. Something Paralympian Ryan Ragu knows all too well. Born with cerebral palsy due to medical negligence and told he would never be able to walk.
Yeah, I've been through my fair share of struggles as an athlete, overcoming barriers, but also as a person, overcoming my own mental health challenges. Embrace the struggle. Not every day is going to be a good day, but there is some piece of good in every day.
Maidstone Paralympic swimmer Callie-Anne Warrington won a silver medal in Paris just last month. The autistic sportswoman lives with uncontrollable spasms and muscle contractions on the left side of her body. Proof, if these students ever needed it, that personal struggles can make you stronger. Over Whitfield Mirchich, BBC South East Today, Ashford.
It's coming up to 10 to 7. This is our top story tonight. Thousands of pounds are being raised for a little girl from Sussex who's believed to be the only person in the world with the severest form of brittle bone disease. Natalia is in danger of breaking a bone if she so much as sneezes. Also in tonight's programme, what a show! The Northern Lights illuminated much of the region last night. We share your pictures.
And a frosty start gave way to a sunny afternoon. It's not quite so cold tomorrow, maybe with a few showers. I've got the detailed weekend forecast coming up later in the programme.
They spent 7 days battling hostile conditions as they scaled Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro, to raise money for breast cancer treatment in Kent. Now, the group of 7 women, 2 of whom are breast cancer survivors themselves, have visited Maidstone Hospital to see the fruits of their labour, a state-of-the-art mammogram machine which allows patients to be diagnosed more quickly, potentially saving lives. The equipment, called a Faxitron, dramatically improves that early diagnosis, enabling doctors to detect and treat breast cancer with greater accuracy and speed. And like many cancers, early detection, of course, significantly increases the chances of survival, as Charlie Rose reports.
Reaching the summit of Africa's highest mountain after a brutal 7-day climb. These women battled extreme weather, high altitudes and physical exhaustion.
I've said to people it was one of the most incredible and horrendous experiences all at the same time, but for the 7 women who did it, it's like, you know, bonded for life. It's amazing, and to see the machine today, it's it's a lot. It really, really does mean a lot.
This is it.
While it may look a bit like a photocopier, the £90,000 price tag for this Faxitron machine and what it's doing for breast cancer diagnosis tell a different story.
When the cancer is removed during an operation, comes to the pathology lab, the pathologist would spend about an hour and a half processing the specimen, sometimes running it down to have a special X-ray in a mammogram machine. Whereas now all that has been reduced to just about half an hour because the specimen can just be put in the Faxitron machine, which is a small mammogram essentially.
You have these dense white areas, which are areas of calcification. So those are the areas that we're going to sample. And if we didn't have this machine, we'd have to sample the entire slice. We wouldn't be able to just choose this postage stamp area to be able to sample. So we've got picture perfect, this is what we're going to sample.
The machine makes the process much more streamlined, which is important for Maidstone's pathology department, where staff must also cater for hospitals in Medway and Dartford.
In partnership with our colleagues in East Kent, we service a population of 2 million people, and so being able to process samples quickly means that we're able to get results back to the patients who need them. And the reduction in the waiting time that women are now experiencing to get their results as a result of this new technology is really fantastic to see.
Having spent all that time on the side of Kilimanjaro, raising the money to get it, and then seeing and hearing how it's benefiting breast patients and indeed the hospital at large, it's incredible.
It's a trip they'll never forget. Conquering Kilimanjaro to help patients beat breast cancer. Charlie Rose, BBC South East Today, Maidstone.
On to sport now, and if you're a fan of racing on two wheels, this is the date in the calendar you've all been waiting for. It's the season finale of the British Superbikes Championship at Brands Hatch, and fans are already arriving at the Kent circuit ahead of the weekend's title-deciding races. With more and a full roundup of the weekend's sport, Juliet Parkin is there for us live this evening. Hello, Jules. There's a real battle for the crown, isn't there?
That's right, Ellie. You couldn't get a more exciting end to the series for fans coming here this weekend. We're expecting a three-way title battle over 3 races to decide the champion. And with the current leader a mere 4 points ahead, well, it couldn't get any more tense.
A sun-soaked practice in the autumn sunshine ahead of what promises to be a sizzling weekend of racing. Just ahead in the championship standings by a mere 4 points is Kyle Ryde, the 27-year-old chasing his first ever British Superbikes title.
He wins at home here at Donington.
It's no mean feat being in BSB, especially in this position I'm in right now. And yeah, I'm proud of how, as a team and myself, we've got on this year. And yeah, to be leading the championship by 4 points, it's a good achievement. And yeah, but I'm feeling good this weekend.
And Tommy Bridewell had to make his move on the final lap.
But last year's winner, Tommy Bridewell, also has his eyes on the prize. He was crowned British Superbikes champion in front of a packed crowd at Brands Hatch last October and could make history by becoming the first rider to win 2 consecutive titles with 2 different manufacturers. Keen to atone for last year's agony of losing by just half a point, Glenn Irwin could also spoil the party. It wouldn't be British Superbikes without a showdown.
To move up into P1.
This is the biggest day in British motorcycle racing when the British champions are crowned, not just in the main British Superbike Championship, but in some of the support classes as well. So it's a day where you get to see champions crowned across multiple classes. There's no hiding place. It all comes down to the final round. Winner takes all.
With fans already gathering ahead of the weekend's racing, the stage is set for the 2-wheeled stars of the show at one of the most famous venues in British motorsport.
One of my favourite circuits. It's a brilliant track to race at, and I think it's definitely the perfect fit one for the last round.
A packed schedule's expected over the weekend with various support series and the main attraction, race 1 of the Superbikes on Saturday, race 2 on Sunday lunchtime and the final race in the series late afternoon. These bikes are built to thrill, and this hotly contested title chase is set to do just that.
Well, it absolutely is, and some 40,000 people are expected to enjoy some fantastic racing over the weekend. Well, let's move on to some football news now, and former Gillingham chairman Paul Scally has been voted off the board after almost 30 years at the club. It ends the 69-year-old's association with Gillingham with immediate effect. The former chairman sold his majority stake in the club to American businessman Brad Gallinson back in 2022, but continued to serve as a non-executive director. He was officially voted out of the position by shareholders on Thursday after a meeting at the Priestfield. Well, let's look ahead now to the weekend's football fixtures. And in League One, Crawley Town host Shrewsbury Town tomorrow, while Gillingham welcome Accrington Stanley in League Two. Both of those games kick off at 3 p.m. On Sunday, Brighton and Hove Albion travel to Crystal Palace in the Women's Super League for a 2 p.m. start, with high hopes for that game after a promising start to the season.
This morning we were analysing our last session, also previewing the opponent for this weekend. So. It's a constant. We're looking to try to be perfect in a way. So in each phase of play, every moment of play. So still a long way to go. But yeah, very, very pleased with the start so far and the progression that the ladies have made.
Well, finally to darts, and Sussex player Rob Cross features in the quarterfinals of the World Grand Prix tonight. The world number 4 from Hastings takes on Ryan Joyce in Leicester. He's already beaten the likes of Luke Littler and Martin Schindler, and a win tonight would see him through to the semis tomorrow evening. And best of luck to Rob Cross. Well, as you can tell, it's all very calm here this evening, but this weekend we're expecting packed crowds, and Ellie, we're also expecting a lot of noise.
I'm sure you are. Thank you very much, Jules. You can go and get warm now. Looks chilly down there, doesn't it? Now, if you were on your way to bed at about 10:30 last night, you may have noticed an unusual glow in the sky. No, it's not bonfire night just yet. In fact, we were treated to a spectacular light show, courtesy of atmospheric conditions, perfect for seeing the Northern Lights, which were visible across much of the UK. Many of you night owls kindly sent in your amazing images. Thank you for those. Here's a taste. Wow, wonderful pictures. Thank you so much for those, and do keep them coming in. Well, some unusual weather conditions led to that last night. Let's find out what we've got in store for us over the next few days. Nina is here. Hello, Nina.
Hi there. Yes, those clear skies also led to a pretty frosty start, with temperatures dropping down below freezing for some of us. But through the day, whilst it was chilly, it was also dry with some good spells of sunshine. Now, our weekend forecast keep things on the cool side, not as cold through the day tomorrow, but Sunday chilly with the sunshine making a return. Saturday sees a little more cloud with perhaps a few showers as this weather front just drifts its way further south, but Sunday sees the high building back in, so that's why it's dry and it's brighter. Overnight tonight we'll have some patchy cloud, maybe a few clearer spells at times. Those temperatures not as low tomorrow morning, but still on the chilly side at around about 3 to 5 degrees. So we'll have a bit of cloud through the morning with some occasional brighter spells. Many places will have another dry day tomorrow, but we just might start to pick up a little more cloud and some showers towards the northwest later in the day, with those temperatures reaching around about 14 degrees. That band of showery rain will push its way further south overnight into Sunday morning. So Sunday starts off dry and clear, so once again chilly at around 3 to 4 degrees. Lots of sunshine expected through the day on Sunday. It is a bright day, it's dry, we're back to those light winds as well. And those temperatures will be slightly lower as well. We're looking at highs of just 11 to 12 degrees on Sunday. Changes then in towards Monday and Tuesday. A few weather fronts around, but still predominantly some dry weather. But the big change will be the direction of the winds. A southerly wind, so the milder air is going to return. So a bit of an autumnal chill this weekend before those temperatures return to above average through next week. And in fact, by Wednesday, we could be creeping fairly close to 20 degrees, Ellie.
We're all over the place this autumn, aren't we? Thank you very much, Nina. Well, that is it from Nina and from me and from everybody here. Linda Hardy, though, is back at 10:30. Bye-bye for now.